right, let's go figure this out. Hello, everyone. Hopefully, you're well. Today we have probably a little longer live stream, maybe an hour and a half. Not as long as last time. We won't have as much time, but it's gonna be a little slower. We're gonna deal with more questions, so make sure to put your questions in the comments as you get here. So that's important. Let me see if I can change a few things, share it with a few people, because we definitely need to do that. Then I'll be doing timestamps after. So automatic, yeah, right there. Cool. Yeah, so if you have any questions, make sure to put them right there in the comments on the live stream, and then we'll deal with them one by one. Super excited about some of the developments that we're seeing in the Dumbphone world. And today I'm going to do a little comparison. Dumbphone live stream, 20 August 2026. Yes. Super excited about some of the developments that are happening right now in the Dumbphone world. But essentially, one of my favorite things is some of the community apps that have been develop soon. So, yeah, no, for sure. All right, let's see. Let's go back. Okay, so Dumbco, Light Phone, Meadow. Okay, so that's what we're gonna cover today, and then we'll see. We'll see what happens. As you guys bring in some of the questions, we'll go over that. But yeah, super excited. Also, I got reached out by one company. I'll see if I can test them out, and see what they're doing. I think I already know what they're doing, but we're going to test. And of course, it just depends on what they're trying to accomplish and how they're trying to accomplish it, and whether it's worth for you to take a look for your smart devices, not necessarily for Dumbphone devices. So let's see. What else do I have? Okay, let's do it. All right. So let's start with some news. I think the main thing that I wanted to share is some devices that have been released. So let's go and change here on the browser capture. There it is. So some devices are coming into Kickstarter, and yeah, maybe pre-order. So that's what's going on. Actually, one of you just remind me of something, so I'll take a look into it. So let's get started with those. So devices that are either in Kickstarter or coming into the fore, kind of like being released. So this is one of them. It's called the Meadow. It's kind of interesting. It's a very tiny, square, cute phone, but with very limited interface and features. So it has maps, Spotify, calling, camera, location sharing, Uber, Apple Music, and texting. And they may have another, maybe call text, fitness, passes, camera, that kind of stuff. So it's kind of interesting to see that they're adding some extra features, but not everything. I think the issue for me, is that you have to use the device with their platform. But that's okay. I mean, it kind of makes sense. It is $15 a month for 1 gig of data, which is a little bit much. 25 is 5 and 35 is an unlimited plan, which I think the 35 is actually a good deal. Most unlimited plans in the US from the big carriers are like maybe $50 and above. Big carriers, not, MVNOs. So go check it out. I mean, I think it's kind of like an interesting device, but also the price, like the upfront price is $399. It's a little bit expensive for an Android. This is Android clearly because it's running all of these apps. So I'm kind of like, is this worth it versus something like the Dumbco versus something that's like cheaper, more in like the $150 range, or maybe something like the Dumber Mini, which you can do pretty much the same, and then you can use them with whatever carrier you want. So it just depends whether you want to have a dual setup or not. Then you have the Minimal Company, which they're doing a Kickstarter, which has already surpassed their goal. This project has been in the making for a long time, so like honestly, it was more of like a formality for them. They have had this phone made for a long time, and I know that it sounds really exciting. A lot of the updates that they have been sharing, for example, like they have been sharing, like, oh, we now have the ability to do, what's it called? Like, here it was bigger battery. I'm like, you already spec'd it out with the bigger battery. Like, you're just bringing enthusiasm, but this was already spec'd out. I doubt that they are all of a sudden very recently, oh, we're increasing the battery from 3,000 to 3,600. No. They put it down and then they use this as a marketing mechanism, which, I mean, like, I get it. You want to bring more enthusiasm. Same thing with like the touch capacitive thing. This is not something that you make a change all of a sudden. We said we're going to keep pushing minimal as far as we can. Well, we have a minimal phone is getting a touch capacitive keyboard. Yes, because it already had a touch capacitive keyboard. Like, I'm very positive that you already developed this before time. It's not an upgrade that you're just adding, because that takes time, takes development, takes lots of debugging. So now I know that they have been working on this device for a long time. Like, it's probably been a year and a half since they've been working on this device. So, I trust that they're going to deliver because it's pretty much production ready, and then like, oh, now we unlock 12 gigs because you already spec'd it out pretty much with that. Maybe this one is like a running change that they made. This is probably something doable that they can make a running change. And of course, when they got success, and they got a lot of success, they can definitely see that this is a change that's going to be making a difference. But it's just the margins, right? Like, they have enough margins to make all of these improvements. I mean, when you look at the device, it's $600 with a MediaTek processor and everything. This is probably costing them, I don't know, 350, maybe 400 with everything that they're doing. But what I like is that they're actually doing it maybe more responsibly this time. They had way longer development time. They have been doing all of the things, and now they're probably just focusing on debugging, and like, they have been working on this for a long time. So I trust that they will deliver and they will do what they need to do. So now this just increased the marketing, but I'm sorry, like the QWERTY keyboard competition, because you also have QWERTY from Clicks and you have a QWERTY from Unihertz. In my opinion, my honest opinion, I will go with Clicks first, then Minimal Phone 2, then Unihertz. I don't trust Unihertz. They're just a company that has delayed a lot of things when it comes to, a lot of their devices and a lot of their updates. And it's just a company that I don't necessarily trust anymore. Unfortunately, I mean, I like the company in theory, but a lot of the things that they have been doing lately, I'm like, I don't really, like them anymore. Yeah, so much so that I haven't even reviewed the latest device, because I'm like, you know what? Why don't you update the Jelly Star? Which it just happened, so I'm going to be updating my review of the Jelly Star with Android 16. But I just don't think that they're going to continue with that motto. Hopefully they do, and if they do, then I will change my opinion and I'll tell everybody about it. But, Minimal Phone 2, good stuff. Like, I mean, I think that they're going to be delivering, and it's definitely more compact. It's a definitely more compact device. So Meadow, Minimal Phone 2, this is Kickstarter, but probably will be delivered. I think it said it was going to be delivered this year, December 2026. I expect them to meet this deadline because, again, they have been in development for this for a long time. Like the time that I went to visit them, they were already kind of like developing like the very early mock-ups, and that was like a year and a half ago, I think. And I was really surprised. I never said anything because, well, like, these are company secrets, and like, I mean, they trust me, and I knew it was not going to be ink. I knew it was like, going to be compact and stuff like that. And I really liked it when I held a 3D mock-up, like, very, very rough 3D in my hand. I was just like, this is small. This is good. Like, this is going in the right direction. And the software I really like. I think that that's kind of like what it differentiates this from the Clicks, is that this has more intentional, hey, let's use this, software to, create the, here it is, like the commands, right? Like the commands are pretty good. Where is it? Let's see, right there. So you have a hub with all messages, calls, emails, apps, notifications. You can read it, answer it from there, which is very resemblant of the BlackBerry technology, which is something that I loved when I had a BlackBerry phone back in the day. So all of those things are extremely, amazing and helpful, because it allows you to just create, all of the different things. 3.5mm headphone jack, dual speakers, fingerprint button. I mean, all of these things are amazing, and I really think that they are creating a great platform. So I'm really happy to see them succeeding. Definitely their first release was botched, was difficult. It was early for a company, but now I trust them that they're going to do much better. Of course, it's not going to be perfect, but I mean, just look at this. Like their timeline, knowing what I know now, I was just last week in Shenzhen, China, and I was able to see a lot of these things and a lot of the timelines. Like they are already on DVT2. They're already like in the DVT2 and certification final QA. They're probably a month ahead of this. And yes, definitely but mass production cannot be 30 days. Mass production is 45 days. I really don't think that, I think that they're going to hit mass production and then just ship as soon as possible because they're definitely ahead of time. But a good device. I'm really excited about this one. Another one that is coming is the Commodore Callback. I can tell you that the hardware is real. That's all I can say. The software is still in development. And I expected that. They're also delivering, sometime in that December, January timeline, but that's because they have done a lot of the work and the hardware is pretty much ready. One thing that I can say is it's a little larger than I expected. It looks really small here in this picture. But it's kind of large. Like this is a little larger than I expected. I wish it was a little smaller personally, but I think it's okay. Like, I think it's better to have a little bit of a larger screen, especially because everybody has different standards of like, oh, it looks crisp or it doesn't, et cetera, et cetera. So I personally think it's going to succeed and I'm really excited. I already pre-ordered mine. So I'm really excited to see how it all works out, but we'll see. Yeah. I don't think that September, October, I think it's going to be October. I don't think it's going to be September. I don't think the software is ready. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. Maybe, what I saw in the wild was maybe like not final or like it was like early prototypes and developments, right? But it is quite chunky, like, I mean, I don't necessarily hate that, but it was a little bit larger than I expected. And I was like, okay, this is quite interesting. I think, it depends on who your audience is, but definitely power users are going to enjoy that larger size. It does feel a little bit big in the pocket, of course, but I think it's good. I think it's good overall. Overall, it's a great device. And I personally say go with like something like the Starlight Edition or something like that. The basic beige or something else, probably not my favorite from what I saw at the very least, So I think this is probably going to be the most popular and the one that most people should pick. Just my 2 cents, Yeah. So very good device. Go ahead and check it out. The only thing that you also need to be aware is how it works on the software. So this is for this Commodore product. The software is Sailfish, so it has some limitations when it comes to Android, and I think you need to know that, because otherwise it's not, kind of like what you're truly looking for. So yeah, just know the limitations, understand, some of those things. Let's see. Yeah, if you have any questions, like, let me know. I can only say so much about this specific one too, so, but I can tell you that the hardware is real and pretty much finished, and they just need to probably tweak a few things in software. So maybe that is fine. This is a little optimistic. Maybe probably more likely October, November. That's when I see them releasing this, because yeah, it's just software optimization at this point and making sure that everything works well. So yeah. So those are some of like the phones that are coming. Of course, there's also another one that is in pre-order, and that's the Light Phone Flip. The Light Flip, now it's, well, of course, sold out late April. Now is in May if you want to pre-order it. What I do like about these are the colors. It's definitely a little bit more of a chunky, device. I have also seen a 3D printed of these, when I visited Joe, and I had to keep it to myself until now they release. And I'm like, yeah, this one's different. It's definitely more chunky. It's more like Cat S22, but better design. I I did like it. I did like the feel of it, and I think that they're gonna succeed because of something that we'll talk about today, which is the difference between apps on the community app store and apps on like essentially a smartphone. Like I think that's where there is a difference between the Commodore callback, and the Light Phone Flip, where the Commodore callback is essentially a smart device in a flip phone form factor, and it leverages the same UI that is already there by smartphones, which is a double-edged sword in my opinion. The nice thing about the Light Flip is that they're opening up the development with their own UX UI with the SDK, and it's creating non-distracting applications. So I think that makes a big difference in my opinion. And I think that is something that I'm going to be continuing to talk about, because Meadow is similar, right? You have a small device, no distractions. The advantage with Meadow is that they're blocking all of the other apps, right? So they're only allowing a curated list. And, as you see the color, you see the Apple Music, Uber, location, that kind of stuff, which is fine. I think it's totally okay. But then you have the Light Flip, which has some of these apps, but the UI is completely different and maybe more intentional. And I think that you either restrict the hardware or work on the software, or you work on the software and the hardware, which is probably the best way to look into things. So that is something that I'm looking into, and looking into different companies that are doing that. Last thing from news is a company, they reached out. I'm going to see if I'm going to test it out. It's called Shift. They are essentially using Apple Configurator 2, which is a free service. This is my opinion, or at least my understanding. So when you are shifted, you get to block all of the distractions. And when you're unshifted, all of these apps reappear if you want them to, I guess. So it says a screen time blocker without escape hatch, and that is because they're doing probably some MDM configuration, so mobile device management configuration. Yeah, there it is. Block distractions on your phone, control from your desktop, which is a clear homage or code language for we are using a mobile device management platform in order to control your device. So you have access to the MDM, but the reality is that you can do that yourself, create these manual shifts yourself with free software. So the question is, does it make sense to pay them $149 for this? I think if you think it as a service, I like that it's a one-time purchase only. At some point in time, I had seen that they had switched to a subscription, which I definitely don't like. But I think if you already have a smartphone and you just want to have a complete system that you have from your desktop and you control, and you don't have a way to exit it on the phone, I think it's okay. It's okay to pay that much. Personally, I will just do it myself, but I know that not every user is extremely technical, right? Like not every user understands how to do these things. So that's a little bit of like, hey, I mean, if you don't know how to do it, you're paying somebody to know how to do the different things. But yeah, they're probably using mobile device management software. I'm probably going to test it out and see how it works. And I liked it. They have focus sessions, they have schedules, right? Like you can select it yourself. And then you have manual shifts, schedule shifts where you can block, and maybe when you can access some of these things. I think this is great maybe for parents, because it allows you to completely, parent more, says police less. I think the good thing is that since it's completely over the network and it's a mobile device management, then, there is nothing that your kid can do. You do it all. It's on the web, and that's it. So screen time and all of these other apps, they're honestly able to be beaten. Whereas like this mobile device management system cannot. And that's something that I do like. Now, can you set this up yourself? Yes. If you don't have the technical know-how, do I think $149 is an okay price, a one-time payment for these features? I think it's okay. I actually do. But go check it out. Apple Configurator 2. There's actually a video from this person. I guess called the Gertrude app. Maybe they created an even thing, or I don't know. No, it seems to it's just what they talk about. And this person essentially puts their service, or kind of like profile, for parental controls or for screen time controls, and shows you how to do it. So go check this video. I'm gonna put it in the comments. So hopefully this helps you. Open my browser, and right there, boom. So I sent it I put it in the chat, so you're able to check it out there. So there you go. Yeah, and I mean, I think that it's, oh, where is it? Yep, there it is. It showed up. So I think that it's a good system and it's a good idea. There are different ways of beating screen time. It's just a matter of like, what's the way that you want to do it? Do you want to do it with software? Do you want to do it with hardware? How are you going to be more intentional? At the end of the day, though, the device is only one half of the equation. It's not the whole. And you need to understand that, because if you think that the device is going to save you, I have news for you. You can find addiction anywhere in the world. You can find dopamine hits and like anticipation and going to, doom scrolling and many different devices. The device is only half of the equation. The more powerful half, if I would say more 3/4 of the equation, it's 75% of the equation. Maybe the device is 25% of the equation, but like 3/4 of the equation, 75% is changing your lifestyle to include more offline things. So personally, I think that's more important. Let me see if there are more questions from you guys, and let's look into it. Let's see. No questions so far. For size, how does it compare to the S22? The light flip is probably very similar size-wise. Definitely a little less chunky. The Commodore is maybe a little bit taller than the S22 Flip, at least from my recollection. I didn't have the device in my hands. I just kind of saw it in the wild, and seeing it, it was interesting. But again, I didn't have like my Cat S22 to compare the sizing, and that kind of stuff. So that's something to kind of think about. But it's probably, yeah, the Commodore was a little larger, like. Yeah, probably a little larger than the Cat S22. Maybe like a tad, or about the same size, but it's definitely thinner. The light flip is a little bit more chunkier, especially when closed. Yeah, so it just depends on what you're looking for. So yeah, cool. All right, let's do some demo. The Dumbphone people have been at work, and I really like that when companies continue to improve their product. Does the light flip allow access to e-tickets? Good question. In general, yes, but not dynamic QR codes. So let me show you this. Awesome Light Garage. These are some of the community apps that have been put in kind of like a marketplace. This is still not live. This is another person's project, not Light's official project, but there's a marketplace now called Awesome Light, and you can put all of the community apps that you can think of. There are 73 community apps, and some of them are going to be duplicates because everybody's developing with their own flavor. But it just kind of depends on what you want. So I highly recommend that you go check it out. So let me just go over a few of the projects. So when it comes to, let's go to the editor's pick. Let's see right here. Passes. Where are you, Passes? Aha, right here. So Passes is an app that allows you to store and scan various codes. So you have the ability to essentially have, a movie ticket or a code, or whatever. Let's go back. Sorry. I don't think. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't allow me to go to the next image. Not yet, I guess. So I can show you on my phone. I have been testing a few of these community apps. Let's go here. So let's just scan a QR code that is kind of meaningless. Let me see. Let me switch views. So I'm going to go to QR code just in general. I'll take a picture of it and then show it to you in the. So passes, let me add a pass, boom, right there. QR example. There you go. So how does it work? Let's go to my viewer here and that. Okay, perfect. So this is the Livestream 3, of course. And now it has the community apps. So I have all of the official apps because I show you guys all of the things. The new one is Rideshare. But you also have this Passes app. And the Passes app is a community developed app. And the Passes app has multiple ways to scan a QR code. So you can add a QR code right here. It opens up the camera, and then you will, scan the QR code, let's say from your computer, for example. And then that's what I just did with this QR example. And then you get access to the QR code very easily. You can also do it with barcodes. So not just QR codes, but also barcodes. And then you have access to, whatever. So for example, here I have my priority pass, and I also have my Capital One lounge. Whenever I go to the airport, those are passes that allow me to enter these lounges, So the QR example right there, boom, you have a QR example, and then you are able to do it. Now, if it's a Ticketmaster or some other venue that is a dynamic QR code, meaning that it changes every single 30 seconds or a minute, then those are not supported. And the reason why they're not supported, at least I don't think they're supported. I haven't tried. I haven't been able to go to a game lately. But those, in my opinion, don't seem to be supported with this app, but maybe they are. I don't think so because they're very app dependent. So I think Ticketmaster is very protective of their technology and whatever. So I don't think that will be available. Another community pass or community app that I have been using is this one called Pico Transit. So Pico Transit is a kind of like transit agency that is more accurate than the regular light phone driving directions. This one has live feeds, which I personally prefer a lot more. And it also has different agencies, right? So this one right now has 3, but I believe it has 4 now. I just haven't updated to the latest update with this app. But these are just examples, right? So what this allows you to do is it takes a little while to load the transit agency. At least so far it has taken, maybe they have made some improvements. But essentially this allows to have more accurate directions for your different transit agencies. And once you have that, you're able to navigate more easily. So I think this is failing, it's not loading. So, who knows what's going on. But that's okay. I'll show you maybe another time. Rideshare was just updated. I showcased it in my latest video. Let's go to Pico Transit again. Maybe we'll try again. We'll let it there for a little bit, and then I'll show you more apps. So I just scanned this QR code. But then there are other apps, right? So there are other community developed apps. And as you see, everything is developed in a way that is non-distracting. And that's what I like. So let's just do a comparison for maybe, let's go to all, and let's find something that we can find also on the Play Store and see how it differs, right? So, perfect. This is the Amtrak. Let me see. I think there is a way that I can load most of these apps. How can I? Okay, let me see. Let me see if I can just do this quickly. Awesome Light. Garado, he developed this. Alexis. Thank you for developing this, by the way. I think it's very helpful to the community, especially for those of us that are testing, all of these things. I like solving problems, interesting Linux, It's very true, solving problems. But how do I install this? Let's see, source code to add the new app. Use this form to generate the pull request. Oh, no, that's too up. Okay. Most submissions, editors pick, building locally, blah, blah, blah. Maybe this is just a repository and I'll have to update something else. I just don't know how to do it. Maybe I'll have to create an account. Yeah, I don't know how to do this yet. I didn't take the time. I mean, it's probably very simple, but it's just like right now I'm in live stream mode. I'm not in like, oh, how do I put this in? But let me put one of these apps. Let me just find the code. And let's see. Let's see. Something that I can show you at the same time. RSS feed. That sounds something that's interesting. Yes, because it shows differently. Light Phone Manager. There it is. Oh, they created a tool. Oh, okay. So they created a tool. What is Light Phone Manager? There it is. Boom. There you go. Okay, I think I can install this, right? Yes, somebody created an app that allows you to get it on your computer. Perfect. I can do that. Let me just do that real quick. And then I can connect my phone, which is awesome. It's awesome. Like, see, the community is making some awesome stuff. So you can essentially browse this through your computer. Let's see, Light Phone Manager. Maybe I can show you too how it looks. Here, just give me a second. Oh, give me a second. I need to authorize it because the people at Apple think that this is a security vulnerability. Of course it is a security vulnerability because you don't know the developers. Where is it? I think it's allow applications, advance. Nope. It's always hard. Privacy, maybe is there? No. I'll install it again. Okay, why can it not be open? The download corrupted. Okay, let's try it again. Okay, now it can be open. Oh, nope, it cannot be. It's damaged. Okay, it says it's damaged. Let me download it again. Maybe I opened it before I needed to. I don't know. Sometimes that happens. There you go. Now we're good. Replace. Yes. Working on it. It just says that. Okay, let me try a different release. Oh, releases. Thank you. Oh no, this is the only one that I can do. Okay, I probably need to report a bug because this is not working. Maybe this Mac one will work. Sometimes Macs are picky. Something that I do hate, but it's kind of like the best content creation machine because I can edit and have all of my files pretty easily. Not gonna lie. It sucks, but that's life sometimes. Okay. Let's try it again. Applications. Sorry, guys. I'm troubleshooting here. Making sure that this works. I'm going to uninstall it. Make sure that it works. Go to downloads and open it up. Oh, what do you mean the file cannot be found? Does he have a guide? Maybe it's already in the issues. Error on launch. Yep, there is a lot of launch errors so far. I may have to do this later. So sorry, guys. I'll just download the app. Okay, let's go back to Light RSS. This is the source. You go to releases. This was last month, so there's only one. We're going to save that. And now I'm going to connect. Oh, I need a different cable. Give me a sec. Okay, let's see this. Let's connect here. And let's connect here. Yes, allow. Okay, let's see. Let's go here and Okay. Sorry if it's a little boring right now, but we're trying to figure it out. No, Commodore has not sent me a phone to test. I can tell you that. The transit US only? No. Well, good question. So the transit right now is US only, but it shouldn't be US only very soon. Let's see. Does this work? Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Now this should be installed and see if we can show it. Should work. It's not showing. Let's reboot Light OS, and maybe that will show. No, I do not have a Commodore device. If they want to send me one, they're more than welcome. I did pre-order the device, and I will be reviewing it because I purchase every device that I review to give you my personal opinion if you should or not spend money on the stuff. So yeah, but if they want to send me an early unit so I can give them feedback, more than glad to. The transit right now is only available on. Right now, it's only available on. Okay, give me a second. Awesome Light. Only available in the United States, but they are open to having other, more uses. So let's see. Maybe this is already included here. Pico Transit is the name of the guy that was doing it. Pico Transit, there it is. So right now, let's go to the source, and right now it has, it has MBTA, RIPTA, RTD Denver. People have been adding, so LTC, London, Ontario, STM, Montreal, CTA, Metra, Pace, New York Subway, LIRR. I just haven't updated. Clearly, he has been busy. Metro North, LA Metro, and around 50 San Francisco Bay Area operators, as you see right there. Essentially, everything can be added. Every possible transit agency, because they operate on a common thing called what is it called? It's called the GTFS data sources. And yeah, if you have a specific country or a specific city, go look for that feed and tell, this guy, I forgot his name. I'm sorry, CFJ data. But he's a transit data person, Christian Ferreira. So Christian, go tell Christian, like, hey, can you add my city? Here's the GTFS data from that city, et cetera, et cetera. So let's look at an example of what I'm talking about, right? So let's go to feed flow. Like, I'm just downloading an app. Hopefully it doesn't necessarily. Yep, there it is. I can just add a feed. Feed suggestions. Fine. Business Insider. Yes, there you go. Okay. So we're going to make a comparison of why I like the UI of the community and why I think this is better. This is better than like the overall, whatever it is that people are developing on Android or iOS or, that kind of stuff, right? So let's see. Oh, I can just put BBC News. Perfect. Here, let me put BBC News here. Maybe that's too graphic. Sometimes BBC News can get a little too, let's just unfollow that. I don't, I'm not trying to, yeah. Let's just do RSS. Look up. Oh, has some issues. It keeps crashing. Oh, yeah, it keeps crashing. It's not usable. Oh, what happened? Oh, it was working before. Maybe when you don't have enough subscriptions, it kind of like messes up. Yeah, most likely that's what's happening. Okay, let me just reinstall it. Reinstall. Let's see. Let's do this command. Yeah, so that way I can. Give me a second. Not connected. Come on. Let's try it. Oh, there it is. Should be installed now, hopefully. Yeah, there it is. Okay, now we're good. And then, no, no feed's okay. Should have not touched that. Okay, let me download the BBC because that's the one that's going to, open up. Feed, BBC. Oh, okay. Let's add a feed. Feed suggestions. Business, lifestyle, news. There it is. BBC should be here. No, it's not. Oh, there it is. BBC News World. Perfect. Okay, now I can show you one-to-one whatever is going on. Okay, I'm fixing something on the back end. Are these tools still on track for going on the live dash in October? Yes, these are still track. So like right now, as you see, I'm dealing with a lot of issues because this is being tested by the community, but eventually these are going to be very easily installable on the dashboard, which is something that, it's going to be much easier, Let's see. Can you elaborate a bit more on the timeline for hiding, rearranging external tools in LightOS? You can, I think that's still, is it live already? Maybe not yet. It should be in October. So September, October is when they're going to release it to everybody, not just people that are testing. I expect, let's see. Can I rearrange tools? Edit toolbox. Yes, only the official tools are able to be rearranged right now. So the other ones are kind of just what it is, unfortunately. But yeah, let's see. Okay. Hopefully this works in a second. Yeah. Yep. But we'll go over that. Yes. So yes, essentially what they're building is a dashboard connection to have all of these tools. And then similar to what Garado has already made, is something that you are able to go online and essentially say like, hey, I want to install this tool from the community, and you drag and drop or you pick, and then it shows up on your light phone. It installs in the same way that it currently installs on the weather app and on the, not only weather, but also on the, what's it called? Authenticator app. Yes, Rideshare Authenticator. All of those are being installed in the same method that they're going to be installed for you for the light phone external tools from the community. Yes, so it's going to be the same. There you go. I can probably download this one too, Light Translator. Let's see, source. Let's download this so that it's easy and fun. Okay. Yes, that's fine. Okay, what else can I do here? Yes, okay. Is this okay? Yes. Maybe we'll do that for now. Yes. Why is this taking forever? Sorry, I'm trying to fix this app installation thing. I don't know why it keeps crashing. So I'm just running something on the end. Yeah, it just keeps crashing on me. I think it's because I don't have any subscriptions. So I'll just show you a different tool, I guess, in the meantime, as we make our argument. But yes, there's no argument and the phone says were you able to find? Okay, so good question, Left Stater. There have been a lot of critical comments about the MP01 and the MP02 ads I have seen. Were you able to find the MP01 usable? Did bugs ever get fixed? Not all bugs got fixed. There are some bugs that are still there, but it's just honestly something that is outside of their control. Maybe not outside completely outside of their control, but it is indeed outside of their control because unfortunately they used e-ink technology, and e-ink technology has difficulties. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say with optimizing for Android, and they never allowed these things to kind of like be workable. I personally think that there were more complaints about delivery issues than bug issues. So people that understood that the project wasn't going to be perfect, that the e-ink screen was not going to respond in the same way that the other screens were going to respond, I think those people were happy. But people that did not get their device because of delivery issues or whatnot, which was very real, I think they are warranted to not trust, the MP02. The reason why I trust them now is because they have been developing this for such a long time. And yeah, for me, it's like, it's very important to say like, hey, there were some issues, but these issues are maybe no longer like the same. And yeah, I think you should be thinking about whether you trust a company or not with any purchase that you make. They have been gaining strides over time, and I think that that's something important to know, right? But it's not something that probably will deter me from purchasing or recommending it. So that's just kind of like my, yeah, yeah. So cool. Okay, let me now show you Translator app and the difference between something that the community created and something that Google created, for example. So as you see from the starters, you have two different design choices. Oh, we can now see the new. Okay, there it is. Sorry. So for starters, we have completely different design choices, right? This is a little bit more just different, but more busy. Then you have select language. Let's just do English to Spanish. These are the languages that are allowed for now. Let's do Spanish. Let's see. Spanish. Let's go down. And this is probably maybe not the best tool to kind of showcase like the differences, but there are more tools that are more obvious, right? So here we have, you can type. Still not with the good keyboard, it seems. Hello. And then translate. And this will see hello. And it's like hola, right? I guess it's taking its sweet time to think. Hola. And it said even more things that I didn't say. That's very interesting. So that is a little bit of like a different design. In this specific case, this is definitely more simple, not as accurate, unfortunately. This one is the most accurate, but it has a bunch of other stuff, right? Like, like definitions and that kind of stuff. This is something that can be improved on, of course, but the design language is definitely more simple here, less distracting. Here you have way more things going on. This is probably not something that you're going to get addicted. You're probably going to get addicted to your translator app. So I think RSS was definitely a better example, but my RSS is not cooperating with me, my app, unfortunately, and it is crashing. So I will have to show you something else. Let's see. Okay. Let me see if I can try something, some commands. Let's see. Maybe this will help us. Yes, this should be good. Okay, perfect. Just using some ADB to create a clean install so that we can get the feed again. Ah, perfect. There you go. Now we can show what's going on here. Okay, here it is. So let's go back to our RSS feed example. We're still good, right? Nope. We need this. Okay, perfect. So now we have an RSS versus RSS. So this is something that could distract you a lot because you're reading the news. Let's go for the Norwegians. Let's see, where is it? Trying to find the same feed. Norwegians, there it is. Okay. Let's see, Norwegians, flowers. There you go. Okay, there you go. So now you have Norwegians lay flowers at palace as King Harold's condition worsens. On this side, you have a picture and a bunch of other stuff. And, you know, as you see, you can read the article. On this side, right now, you have just kind of like a very quick headline. Norwegians lay flowers at palace. The 89-year-old's condition is described as extremely, unread, read, archive, and then you can continue reading your feed right there. It doesn't give you everything, as you see right there. It just gives you a summary, and maybe that's all you need, right? You don't need all of the information and all of the things. Maybe you just need a way to look at the headlines or, kind of catch up on newsletters and that kind of stuff. And it is something that is interesting to me because it allows me to see, hey, this is definitely the same information, but laid out differently. See, this one has the picture already in there, kind of like attracting your attention. This one is more like just the information, and looking into how it all works. So there you go. There's definitely more development to be done, but this is version 0.1, and this is version way more advanced, But that's just kind of an example. Like, these apps, the apps on a smartphone are made for distraction, and the apps on a dumb phone with intention from the community are made for utility. Now, of course, RSS is not something that I personally will have on my phone. I think that's still too distracting. And there are some community apps that will not make it to the official curated apps from Lite. And that is something to keep in mind, right? Like, it's not something that they're going to say like, oh, every community app will be supported. It's more like only community apps that have utility, like a translator. Perfect. Or like a QR code reader. That's something that has, or New York Subway. Look at that. Somebody already developed the New York Subway. This one probably won't make it, like Solitaire, or maybe it will. It's kind of like a basic game, right? Passing the time. But as you see, the community has been busy at developing so many different radio apps or reminders or, sports. Look at that. If you want to look into sports, this is a clean interface. If you compare this to like the ESPN app, oh my, like that's a completely different world, right? Like, this is just cleanly showing you the ideas of the scores, and that's it. And we move on. The ESPN app will be like, no, click here and click there. And, it'll be kind of like too much. Same thing, strings, for tuning your guitar or other instruments, even topographic maps. As you see, everybody has been doing, hey, this is what I want. This is what I need. This is the stuff that I've been looking into. And it just kind of depends on what you want. Somebody even made a chess app. There you go. These are important developments, I think, in my opinion. And hopefully they get better and better with time. One more thing for today is the Mudita did the 1.6 update, more languages, improved maps, voicemail support, vibration control, and everyday reliability. So fixes across weather, messages, phone, contacts, eSIM calendar, voice recorder, etc. And it should be available now. So if you have a Mudita compact, make sure to go update it. I think this is more of like a quality of life improvement than a big features improvement, but quality of life is always nice to have because it allows you to, have a device that works better and better over time, so that is something that I personally appreciate. Okay. Any questions that you guys have? I saw Light might do hardware changes, mainly size-wise. Do you know what other things they might change? Hopefully nothing too crazy. Nothing too crazy. Don't expect any massive changes. They might make small tweaks, but that's just it, you know. So, have you heard of the rumors about the 2760? Yes, I have heard that it may have Android Go. I think that's probably good. It's better. It's actually better for them because they have been releasing really terrible devices that they never update. So Android is going to be easier to update, and yeah, it's going to cost them a little bit more, but it's definitely going to be more popular. So a 2760 is a tested and true platform, and I think, yeah, you know, that's just something that you should be like looking into. So yeah, sorry, today's live stream has been all over. I needed to get it done. I was maybe something that I would like to talk about is why are phones like the Light Flip and the Meadow and maybe some of those phones $399 or $299. So for example, like right here, the Light Flip is $299 unlocked. Why is the Light Flip $299 unlocked and the Light Phone 3 $899? So this is something that I learned when I was visiting Shenzhen this past week. And Qualcomm and MediaTek, completely two different companies with completely different standards for memory and different standards for suppliers and different requirements of entry. So there is a project that I'm following right now, and I asked them, hey, did you quote these for like the two different vendors, right? Like the MediaTek vendors and the RAM for the Qualcomm vendors. And they told me that just the development fees for this project, like, you know, there's another project that is developing right now, just like the difference between the development cost for the manufacturer to start exploring this. One of them with the MediaTek was, I'm here. So one of them with the MediaTek was about maybe $150,000, you know, $200,000 in that range, you know, for this device that they're trying to develop. And the one with the Qualcomm one started at $750,000. So you see, like, just from the development cost, it's already starting from like a different standpoint, where MediaTek is more friendly to maybe different components or, you know, mix and match and doing all of these things. And Qualcomm is like, whoa, if you want to make, this is a smartphone project that I've been following, like $750,000 is just so much a big difference, right? Like you're talking about a phone that may be able to cost $350 or $400 and a phone that you had to start selling at $1,000 because your development cost is so much higher that you had to recoup that in the cost that you sell to the customer. So I think that's a massive win. Is a massive win for me to understand that and to say like, oh, okay. So for example, like when you look at the specs of the Light Flip, the specifications, what's the chipset? Should be here, MediaTek MT8873. It's not a Qualcomm chipset. Whereas when you go to the Light Phone and you look at the specifications, guess what's there? Qualcomm SM4450. So you have a Qualcomm Snapdragon or whatever they call them, you know, like all of the different names that they have, but it's similar, but extremely different, right? So it has a different component cost, different material cost. This is plastic, of course. This is aluminum. You know, it's definitely more premium and whatnot. So that also adds into the cost. But the main cost is the development. That initial development is you have to drag it out over time and over years to be able to sell a device. And I think that that's just one of the realities that these companies are dealing with, right? They're dealing with a device right here that, hey, this is my idea. I want to start developing. But whenever you put it into perspective, it's not just the cost right here. It's what is costing them to make it and what is costing them to develop and how they're going to spread that cost over time. And that was just such a eye-opening for me, you know, eye-opening reality. Now, there's other realities too. So something that I learned is that there are different companies in Shenzhen, which is like the tech hub of China, and they have their R&D development teams there, but their manufacturing is maybe in a different town that it has lower labor costs. So if you have if you have the R&D development in Shenzhen, but you have the factory in Shenzhen, like Foxconn, it's going to be more expensive than if you have the R&D in Shenzhen and then you have the development of the phone, the actual manufacturing in a different city called Dongguan or Zhongshan or maybe even way further away. But you still have the same quality standards and quality assessment and all of those things. But because it's further away from the tech hub, the labor costs are much cheaper, right? And something that surprised me, I personally wasn't expecting it. I'd never been to China. This was my first time in there. And you get all of these ideas of how it's going to look, right? And then you're there, at least in the tech hub city, which probably could be the equivalent of a big city in the United States. Maybe even more than a big city, maybe a big area like New York City, and then you're like, oh, my preconceptions and my ideas and what they told me that this experience was going to be in China is completely different than the experience that you have. I was kind of like, I don't know, how does this work? How does the government work? Like, freedom of expression, yada, yada, yada. And I was just like, okay, this is pretty normal. It's a pretty normal place. All of these things that they told me are not necessarily true. Some of them are true. Like, for example, there are cameras everywhere. That's just something that they have. And maybe that makes you uncomfortable. For me, it made me understand why there is no crime. Because honestly, if you commit a crime, you're going to get caught. There's no way for you to avoid being seen or the vehicle that you're using being seen because there are cameras everywhere, right? So that's a double-edged sword. Yeah, it does limit some freedom, but at the same time, it expands freedom because there's no fear, right, of like having all of these things happening. So it was kind of an interesting experience for me to be there and understand how everything works. And I really appreciated it. But it also helps you understand why some phones, like for example, like this, like the Dumber Mini, are $199, and why some phones like the Lightphone 3 or the Sight phone are $250 and or more, and why some phones are $49, right? Like it just depends on where they produce them and how they're doing all of these things. So yeah, it just kind of like works into what you prefer and what you're kind of doing. Let me go to the Dumbphones. Somebody asked a question: who are the big hitters right now? A good question. So, good question right there from who asked it? Steelman says, what are the big dogs at the moment? Good question. So if you go to my website, I have my 5 preferred devices right here, my top picks. And right now, my top picks are the Lightphone 3, the Mudita Compact, the Dumbphone 2 from Dumbco. It's a small company, but it's continuing to grow and it's continuing to have traction because of their affordability. They're pretty affordable. You have the Dumber Mini and the Sunbeam Wireless. Those are the 5 top picks for me. Those are the devices that I can tell you and trust, hey, spend your money and you're going to have a good experience. And I think that those are like the 5 devices and 5 companies that are listening to the customers, making it better, creating it. Honorable mention for the Sight phone people. The reason why I picked Dumber Mini versus Sight phone is probably because some of you may want more smart features than the Sight phone can provide, and sometimes that dependency on Google, it's up to you, but you have the option. With the Dumber Mini, you have the option to either have a Google free experience or a Google filled experience, and it just depends on you what is it that you want to have. So you can have features like Android Auto or Google Sync. Those things matter for some people, so that's why I picked the Dumber Mini, but equivalent and probably better for the North American market is the Sight phone. So Sight phone is also right there, has 5 stars. You can go look at my website, dumbphones.org, and you have the 5 stars. All of the 5 stars are probably going to give you a very good experience on a Dumbphone device. Of course, they all have different features, so be mindful of that. But that's just something to keep in mind. These are the top companies that I personally recommend. I think some of these are definitely great phones, and they're going to continue to get better and better. But yes, these are the quote-unquote top dogs. So for you to keep in mind. Let's see. RCS discussion. Yes, RCS is very difficult to work with. Nebula enable RCS again. Totally look at my group chats. Yeah, 100%. RCS is a huge issue. And it's not just on dumb phones. It's also on smartphones. There's a big issue on smartphones. So that's just something that, you need to keep in mind. The Google takeover of messaging is ridiculous. Yes, I mean, I definitely recommend you switch all of your chats to something like Signal or Telegram or WhatsApp, and then you install something like Beeper. Oh, sorry. So those are personally my recommendations. You should do that. I only have about 20 minutes left, guys. So I have to go back to do a lot of things, but just wanted to keep you updated for the day and for the month on things that are coming down the pipeline. So different devices, different things. But like somebody asked, what's the top dog? Well, these are the ones that I trust that they will give you a better experience overall and over time, and they're going to be worth your money. Depending on how much you want to spend. I have to update this. This is going to look ridiculous. $899 is so much money. It's too much. It's too much money. I mean, I can't recommend the Light Phone 3 right now as is, unless you are very, very committed to that experience. I would say like just go buy the Light Phone Flip. It's going to give you the same experience with similar apps. Yeah, I mean, it's not sustainable. That's just not sustainable. So I can't in good conscience be like, oh yeah, go buy a Light Phone 3, even though it's my recommendation. But like, if you don't have the budget for it, or if you don't have like the mindset to be able to think about it, it's not going to be my first recommendation. It's more like, okay, like these are some of my recommendations or some of the things that I think. But the price right now is very high, and I'm sorry, unless you get it on the payment plan, I guess, with their plan. So if you get it on their $59 a month plan and you pay it progressively over time, I think it's a good deal. Yeah, like you get a plan and you get the phone and you pay it over time. It's kind of like it feels definitely less, and it allows for over 2 years. I mean, yeah, you get a contract, which understandable, is not the best thing. I personally like to buy my devices outright. But if you don't have the money, I mean, and you still want a great experience, I definitely don't think it's a bad idea to get this one. So, kind of like another option for those of you who may not be able to or willing to drop, like, I'm going to drop $899 on a phone. I mean, that's a lot, and like, I don't necessarily think it makes sense for most people. But for some people, it does. One more device I want to showcase. I am still not done with testing. This is not a phone per se. It's more of a curious device, I would say. So this is called the LilyGo, or the LilyGo company sells these. These are called the T-Deck Pro, the LilyGo T-Deck Pro. And this device, as you see, has an e-ink screen and a keyboard. It's quite interesting. It's more of a how can I call it, a tinker device than it is a device for the purposes of using it. Oh, Dankeschön for tragic. I did sneeze. So it's one of those devices that I'm like, oh, this is quite interesting. Like, how are we going to test it? And we'll see. But yeah, I'm kind of excited to see if I can make phone calls or send text messages or figure out how to hack it. It's more of a development platform, but wouldn't it be cool to have a device like this? I mean, it'll be very difficult to get this, this body or this nice, to kind of like use a e-ink and keyboard. This is what probably the minimal phone was supposed to be. The minimal phone 1, this size, very small, very pocketable, kind of like something that you can reach everything one-handed. I'm typing here. Let me see if I can type a password to kind of like show you. See, it's a tester device. Oh, there it is. Okay, let's see if I can just try to join something. I think this is just a scan. Give me a second. Yeah, I don't think this is Wi-Fi configuration. Maybe I can configure here. It just shows me like that. So like, I'm not seeing anything. I'm trying to figure it out where I can type, and just do like a little input. There it is, maybe. Oh, there it is. Okay, so it just shows the key that I'm clicking, as you see. Boom, right there. And it just kind of shows you like what it's using. It seems to have a gyroscope, maybe. Again, I just got this device, so I haven't been able to test, but I thought it was cool. And it's quite interesting. As you see, it's a little buggy because e-ink. But I'm kind of like, this is cool. Like, this is a cool device. And it was very inexpensive because it's more of like a hacker device than it is a full phone. But I'm going to be testing and using it in different modes. I just thought it was cool to kind of like showcase. Maybe if I'm able to make it work, maybe I'll make a video. But, we'll see how it works out. Okay. It says, I refuse to force all of my friends and family into WhatsApp. No one uses it in the US. I don't know about no one, but yes, less people. I mean, in my community, like, I'm Hispanic and everybody uses WhatsApp. So it's definitely more useful. But I know that not every community, and definitely where you're coming from and your parents and your fans, they may not be able to use these applications. But I mean, I love WhatsApp. Every time I travel, I'm able to use it with everybody. It's way easier. But I do understand it's not for everybody. I also don't love WhatsApp as in like, I love WhatsApp usability. I don't love WhatsApp as a platform because of privacy. I prefer Signal, but in the same way, right? I'm not switching everybody to Signal because nobody wants to switch to Signal because they're already on WhatsApp, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm going to use it, on WhatsApp. So but at least I don't use the app and mine them their data. I use, third-party connectors to WhatsApp because I prefer that personally, even though I know there are some risks, but I'm getting to the self-hosting portion myself. So, there are different things. Okay, last few things. Do I recommend any other YouTube channels? Yeah, 100%. I mean, like, it just depends on what you're into. There are different YouTube channels for Dumbphones. There's different YouTube channels discussing digital minimalism, consumption. I mean, like, I can go through a few. So, for example, Spencer's Adventures. There you go. He's from Canada. And he talks about, different things like Linux or, analog trend has lost the plot, which is probably on consumerism. We're talking about that. How to switch from Spotify, iPod, buy it for life stuff, which is very along my alley. Like, he's a friend and I definitely recommend his channel. Good guy. Returning Retro from Jake. He's more interested in, certain areas. So he has a minimal phone showcase. He got to see one in person. He also has the Dumber Mini. He talks about dumb phones. He does interviews, more long form interviews, which is also appreciated to get a little bit more of like the knowledge of how some of these projects are happening. I used to do more of those. Nowadays, I don't have as much time. He also has like, thoughts on BlackBerry, interviews, blah, 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 mod retro, kind of like retro gaming, etc., etc. So, there are some. This is a great channel. So, Returning Retro, Spencer's Adventures. I don't know if Laura has a very interesting perspective because she has issues with her eyes. She has a condition. I don't know if she has posted in the past 6 months, but I definitely love her takes because she comes from a perspective that, many of us don't have. She is losing some of her sight and she's trying to find technology that helps her. She had some videos about this, on like some of the phones that are better. And yeah, she has some thoughts on that. So that's important for her to kind of discuss. So those are some channels that I definitely think would be helpful, like just on the tech space, like, I'm trying to think other channels that are better for like just general content or general things to keep up with things. So, I mean, maybe I'll get blasted for this one, but I personally like his interviews. Not all of them. I'm very selective with what I hear, but Diary of a CEO is a podcast, but it's also a video podcast. And this dude has some good content. For example, I have this on my queue. Ed Zitron. He is great. Oh my gosh. So if you want to know about AI right now, Ed Zitron's newsletter, you have to read it. He has deep dives into the current realities of AI. So if you want to stay informed from a skeptical point of view, from somebody that's doing the research and thorough research, I mean 32 minutes, 31-minute reads, like these are long reads that I don't recommend to do it lightly. You need to really get into it. And as you see right here, like, boom, you have like everything, boom, right there. He talks about all of the different things, and you can read it by sections. Highly recommend his content. And now he has an interview with this dude, Diary of a CEO, which has a lot of high hitters, you know. So I'm going to listen to this probably later today. I have a flight. I have a 3-hour flight, and this is a 2-hour and 27 podcast. So I'm probably going to listen to something of this podcast today. I recommend his stuff. He has really interesting guests. Not every guest is something that you need to listen. Personally, I just don't think that's something. But Ed Citron, great guy, great interview. I'm going to be listening to it later today. Highly recommend it. I know some people have their qualms with Steven and the way that he does business. I understand that, but I'm mostly listen because of the guests and not necessarily because of who he is, you know? Yeah, so those are some recommendations. I mean, like finance, Ramit Sethi. So if you are interested in finance, I recommend his channel. He has really great educational content on finance, and his book is a great book for anyone. But if you don't know anything about finance, I would say I Will Teach You to Be Rich is probably the best book. Will Teach You to Be Rich, Ramit. He has a book, and I highly recommend it. I think it's very easy, and he explains finance in a very nice way to think about. So yeah, go get this book. It's very good. So if you want to learn more about finances, investing, saving, understanding your money psychology, that's the approach that he takes. He takes a money psychology approach, and I really love his videos. He's funny. You don't have to watch every video, but if you watch a few videos or some of his podcasts with guests, you get to understand how he approaches finance. And I think it's a very balanced way, because it's like he's thinking like, hey, you should know the math, you should know your money psychology, but you should also hit these numbers in order to live a good life. And he also teaches how to ask for a raise, things that people are usually not okay with, like, they're more uncomfortable. So I definitely recommend his book. If you're married, his other book, Money for Couples, is also probably a better recommendation, because it allows you to have that conversation with your partner. So those are some, idea. So yeah. Have you used the Key phone since your initial review? I wonder if it has improved like the Light phone. They have improved. I don't have it anymore with me, but they are constantly improving. I'm getting emails. Once it gets to a point, maybe that I will... maybe once it gets to a point that it has made a lot of progress, like a lot of strides in progress, I will probably use it again. I don't know if they have a standards, mission, beta tester. They don't have what... man, why am I getting so many messages? Give me a second. Okay, it's just one chat blowing up, which, as you know, that's the problem. Addiction proof. Well, I don't know about that, but yeah. So good device, very interesting. I'm excited to see how it all works out. And they have continued improving, but I don't think it's there yet where I enjoy it, or where I'm like, oh yeah, this device is where I need to make an update video. I will have to order a new device as well. So, I'm really thinking about that. But it's a good device, and I hope that they have fixed some of the keyboard. The keyboard was a little bit needed some love, and I heard that they're gonna redesign some of these modules. So I think that's important. But good phone, good company. They continue to give support, and I think it's going to be a good process that they're gonna follow. So stay tuned. Bryce, I had those thoughts at the beginning. My personal thoughts is like you go clicks, minimal phone, unihertz. That's my personal thoughts. Clicks, minimal phone, unihertz. So if you are looking for a QWERTY device, that's my recommendation in that order. We'll see how it pans out, who has a stronger platform and who develops better over time. But I do like the clicks better personally, just because they've been doing keyboards for a longer time and they have more of like a patented device. But we'll see which one wins. Stay tuned. Well, that's it for today. I know we had some dead time today. I'm sorry about that. I'm going to try to figure out what's going on with all of these apps. And kind of like working with them and figure it out. But yeah, I'm kind of excited to see how the light phone continues to get better and better. How the other devices also continue to get better and better. I mean, like the side phone, it's another very, again, not just, it's an honorable mention just because, again, it has a few extra things that I would like to see fixed. And the community also wants. But yeah, I mean, the screen on the side phone is my favorite though. Like it's gorgeous screen. And it's something that definitely you need to consider. I mean, there's so many phones nowadays. When I first started this channel, it was slim pickings. We only had a few options, and now the competition continues to get better and better and better, and that brings every device to get improvements, right? Like to get more out there. Anyways, I'll see you next time. And if you have any questions in the meantime, leave them in the comments below, and I'll be interacting with you guys. All right.